Yeah, nothing worse than those real jobs for getting your ass tired. I was thinking of that yesterday, air conditioning and heating working, because it's so hot. And these were the days where everybody would be like, call the air conditioning company. We need air conditioning. It's hot. Like, no one in the middle of winter goes, hey, let's get some air conditioning. And then you're in an attic that isn't fucking blazing hot.
Oh, this is so nice.
Yeah. So it was always like just humping shit up into this hot insulation, dust-filled attic.
You had some hot work days?
Oh, it was blazing hot.
I don't know how people do that.
It was a real job. And then everybody wants the grills that are on the ceiling. When you put in an air conditioning system, like after the house is built and it's been there for years, like you gotta put the air conditioning grills in the ceiling and stuff. And they always want them very close to the walls. You don't want one in the middle of your ceiling, you know. You want it kind of hidden against the wall, over a window, in a corner, something like that. And it sounds all well and fine until you realize up in the attic where they want it is where the roof thing is. So there's like this angle of the roof, and you only have like 4 inches to work with, and there's roofing nails poking through, so it hits you in the head.
But it's cool up there, right?
And oh, yeah. It's a good 20 degrees cooler than the outside air.
Good. Imagine getting poked with hot roofing needles.
That's what it was.
While you were
roofing
trying
nails
to work.
in the head, blazing hot, trying to saw a hole in the ceiling from the attic down into the ceiling.
Now, wait a minute. Would you
so
ever
hard.
have, would the dust just go on the floor down there or no?
Yeah, you'd have to like put down drop cloths so the dust would be caught, and then you'd have a homeowner constantly bitching like, are you going to get that? Like, clean it up. No, I'm just going to leave it all over. At the end, you got to clean up and fucking vacuum.
Wait a minute, so you would install central air conditioning?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't do all that shit.
Yeah, it was central air conditioning. You'd go in and cut a big hole for the big 24 by 24 return, and then you'd have to hump all the equipment up through there. Like the giant blower units have to get into the attic.
You did it by yourself?
No, I'd have like at least 2 other people with me.
Was it ever awkward positioning and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
With the attic crowded with shit?
Plenty of times where, fucking ass in your face, and you're just laying down on your back in insulation. Hot and sweaty, it's sticking to you. And then you try to wear the mask so you don't have to breathe it in, but you're sweating so bad that you wind up being waterboarded with your own sweat, because it's like fucking the mask gets soaked.
Did your bag of ass ever get fucking sopping wet?
Terribly. Terrible sweating, and just it was an awful job.
Long days.
Yeah, it was an awful, you have to, it'd be like, yeah, it's a one day in and out. You got to, when you show up in the morning, when you leave, they better be able to turn on air conditioning and be done. So you couldn't just be like, I'll finish tomorrow. So you had to get it done. I couldn't dilly-dally like I do on some of those other jobs.
Were there any times where you just couldn't get it done?
Very rare, but yeah, there was something would go wrong, or yeah.
So what do? You have a bear house.
Yeah.
Because I'm so unfucking mechanical, I feel like these things just magically happen.
Yes.
I feel like magic men do it. Literally, I couldn't be more impressed if you said I just clap my hands and then they hit a switch. It's amazing to me that you can do that. You and some guys hump this up. The first thing you got to do when you get there is go up in the attic and look and make sure you have a pathway to get this.
Right. You look in the attic.
Thing?
It's the blower unit itself probably weighs about 80 pounds, I guess. Okay. And then the compressor unit's really heavy. That's the one that goes outside. That's the little fan unit that goes outside on your side of your house. And then the other unit is the one that goes in your attic, and that's the one that blows all the cold air through big ductwork, and then it branches off into smaller ones, and into smaller ones, and then goes to each grill.
So the heaviest thing is the outside unit.
Yeah, but that's outside.
How do you connect that to the inside unit in the attic?
Yeah, that's a bitch. You got to fucking take copper tubing that you got to slide insulation on. There's 2 lines, one little one and one a bigger one, and then you got to tape it together, and then you got to snake it through a hole that you drilled, get it up through the wall. It's such a pain in the ass.
But how do you have 2 guys doing it?
Yeah, and then one guy's got to go, give it some push. All right, hold up. And then you're twisting and yelling, and It's such a pain in the ass.
Is that the worst part of the job?
No, everything's the worst part. No, the worst part is dealing with like insulation, flex ductwork, which is like this accordion-like tubing that's covered with insulation, and it's you got to cut it to length, and it's shards of glass that are coming out at you and going into your skin. The insulation, it's terrible.
So you cut so the first thing you do is you get up there and you put this thing in the attic.
You put all the shit up in the attic. You got to get all your shit up there.
Okay.
All the equipment up there. And then you find out where the best place to put the blower unit. And then you got to put all the stuff that goes with it. The condensation pan. Because, sometimes these units leak. And you don't want it leaking through the ceiling. So it sits on a giant pan with a hole in it. And the tube comes out of there and runs outside your house. So if it starts leaking, it won't leak.
What if it's an unfinished attic? Meaning, like, what if there's we had some boards laid down to crawl on?
They're all unfinished.
So, I mean, like, you have to crawl over these wood slats?
You're torturing yourself, but your knees are on the 2x6 beams up in the attic, the joists. So you're kneeling on them, and they're digging into your kneecaps.
You got to drag this thing across
and you're
the top?
dragging it without stepping through the fucking ceiling.
Oh, my God.
We had a couple of helpers. It happened like 3 or 4 times in my career. That fell right through the ceiling. The homeowner's like sitting there, and this fat dummy falls right through into the living room. It was classic.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, the homeowner's like freaking. We're like, don't worry, we got a carpenter that come in and they'll take care of everything. And they have to, cut the big chunk that's busted up, put a new piece of sheetrock up. Sometimes it works out good. We actually had a homeowner that wanted 2 returns put in that were really small, and they you couldn't really get the equipment up easily through it. So we made like the guy fell through the ceiling just so we could cut a big chunk out and get the equipment up through it. It's like, don't worry, we'll fix it.
Did you fix it or someone else did?
The air conditioning company has like a carpenter on call, so they're like, oh yeah, go over there and fix their fucking ceiling.
So once you get this thing up there, all the equipment's upstairs, do you then connect the copper tubing? Then you do the snake thing to connect the outside to the inside?
Yeah, the outside to the inside's got to be connected.
How do you make the air go to rooms?
Well, no, that's just for the refrigerant. So the refrigerant goes through the outside one, and it compresses it down, and it gets really cold and shit, and then it ships it up into the unit, and then it goes through a thing and cools the air.
Right.
Then to get it into the rooms, that's a whole different thing. That's the ductwork that goes on the front of the unit, the blower, and then you got to cut holes in the ductworks and branch out to each room.
So wait a minute.
It's a pain in the ass.
So okay. So there's like a giant, say, silver-colored piece of fucking metal that stays in the attic.
Yep.
It stays up there with a bunch of like octopus tentacles.
Yes,
over
octopus
different
tentacles
Okay.
that run to the different rooms, and that attaches to the little box that's in the attic, and then on the underside and the ceiling of the room goes one of those grills that you see right there. And there.
Okay.
And the cold air blows out like magic.
It's like a giant pecker with a bunch of spaghettis on it.
Or that.
That's how they do that. I thought you literally had to go down into each wall. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Sometimes you do. Some homeowners want it in the walls, and that's a much more
as opposed to where?
As opposed to in the ceiling. They want it on the wall. So you got to find, in between the beams and cut out a piece of the wall and put this oval kind of duct in there, and it's not fun work.
How long would it take you to do an average house?
A full day.
Okay, 8 hours.
Probably, over 8, maybe 10 hours.
Wow.
10 hours, yeah. It's real work. It sucked. I never wanted to do it. I always wanted to get out of it somehow and figure out a way to get out of doing that for the rest of my life.
So so the air works that night, or does it take a day or two to get going, or does it just work?
No, it worked. You flip this, hopefully, you flip the switch on the thermostat, and cold air comes out, and you go, ooh, yay, it works.
Did you ever have it where you did that and nothing happened?
Yeah.
How disappointed were they? Can you think of a worse thing than guys in your house all day?
All day.
And when you want that cool air, just,
get ready, here it comes.
The unit's no good.
Click, nothing.
Oh, your mother's cunt.
Then you got to start troubleshooting.
Would you do it right there or the next day?
Yeah. I was mostly installation, so that was left to the other guy that would usually do the refrigerant and electronics, the thermostat and stuff. But if it was a mechanical problem, like, air is blowing out into the attic through a hole in the duct that wasn't taken care of, then I'd have to get up there. But for the most
What do
part,
you mean a hole in the duct that you didn't take care of?
like, one of the helpers didn't screw something in, and one of the things blew off the duct, and something like that. But if it was an electrical problem or something like that, the electrician would deal with it.
So, but you're the one that brought that tubing. You
turning.
brought the duct tubing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nothing worse though than turning it on though, and nothing. Yeah. Like, oh boy, the homeowner's sitting there getting all ready. He's got a glass of iced tea, just looking at the thermostat, looking at you.
And all he wants to know is, can you fix this now?
Now.
I'll tolerate it, but can you do it now? So you put that little unit in the wall. I don't know why I thought houses were just built with little units.
The thermostat, yeah. You put the thermostat in the wall.
Then how do you get the fucking wires up to the machine?
Yeah, you got to drill a hole in the plate up in the attic, and then you snake the wire down, and then you drill a hole where you want the thermostat, and then you put a little wire in there and grab the wire and pull it through the hole. Then you attach it to the thermostat and screw it to the wall.
Was that what's the best part where you knew, like, we're home free?
That was pretty good, the thermostat part.
Wouldn't you test it before you put it in the wall?
No. No, you just fucking hook it up, let it rip. But yeah, it was that part. Yeah, when you started knowing, you're cleaning up, it was pretty good.
Guys falling through the ceiling makes me laugh.
The guy falling through the ceiling. And it was great if you would see it happen, because you'd be downstairs and you'd hear like this boom, boom, and then you just see one leg, boom, like a leg would be sticking out of the ceiling of the living room. It's the fucking leg.
Did anyone ever fall all the way through or no?
Yeah, we've had people fall completely through. It's almost harder, though, to fall all the way through, because the joists aren't very, close together. Or far apart.
Yeah.
They're pretty close together, so
Yeah.
it's not that
They
bad.
would always catch themselves or something,
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking funny, man. Can you do that for a living?
It's
No
hilarious.
way. No. I mean, I couldn't be. I was a stock boy at a furniture store, so I had to unload a truck for a while.
Yeah.
And even that, like one summer, and it was enough.
Yeah, it's just,
And that was, I was in a big garage and I was unloading stuff. I was lifting stuff, but it wasn't being cramped up in an attic. We were watching guys roofing last weekend at some shopping center.
Yeah.
And it was 100 degrees outside, and they were putting down the roof slates and up on top of the. I was like, oh, that's got to be horrible.
We did that too, where it was in commercial jobs, like big buildings, commercial work. You'd be on the rooftop and you'd have to cut a giant hole, like 6 foot by 6 foot hole in the roof.
Would you ever get thirsty?
Oh, I was always thirsty.
You just wanted a glass of water.
Have we ever in one of those hot attics and you had to take, and I drank too much last night shit?
Every night or every day I'd be in there. Every day.
You have to shit.
Oh,
Would you pass gas
and the
up there?
homeowner doesn't want you shitting in their fucking. They don't want you
can't.
drinking out of their fucking
No.
glasses or anything.
They didn't want you shitting in the
their
house.
toilet. You are the scourge of society. Hence the spackle bucket. You'd have to shit in like a spackle bucket, like an animal.
Where?
Sometimes in your work van.
You go in the van and shit in the bucket?
In the back of the work van. And just shit in a spackle bucket.
But not in their attic.
No.
Why wouldn't you just tell them I gotta use your restroom?
Yeah.
The company did not want you using their restrooms.
Nobody
They
ever
don't
asked
piss
you?
either?
They'd prefer,
To piss, yeah.
but the company wanted you to, like animals, go into the back of the van and shit in a spackle bucket.
Yeah, I'd have to throw like all the tools and equipment to one side so there'd be enough room to pop the spackle bucket in, shut the van doors, and just reek out the van.
Would there be toilet paper in the van?
Yeah, you'd usually keep
Would
some
everyone shit in
toilet
the
paper.
same bucket?
No, you'd get your own personal bucket.
I don't know why our air conditioning's not done yet. He's been in the van for 20 minutes.
Yeah, what's he doing in there?
Would it stink in the van?
Then you'd have to drive home.
Horrible.
Would you have to tell your coworkers, I'm going to drop a deuce in the van?
Well, you wouldn't drop one right before you left. And you'd open the doors up and let it air out, but still, it's
Where would
just...
you leave the bucket until you went home?
Well, you'd have to seal the bucket up and leave it, either outside the van.
So now would one guy take all 3 buckets off, or would you each carry your own shit bucket, like your little A on a bucket of duty?
You would just have the buckets in the truck, and then you'd throw them away. Spacker buckets are a dime a dozen.
Walking by in these neighborhoods, and there would just be a bucket of shit just sitting
You wouldn't
outside.
know it. When you see a work van near your house, someone could be shitting in it right then and there. Give a little knock.
That's all I'm going to think about now.
I know that someone's taking a big dump.
If this van's a rockin', I'm taking a shit.
I'm taking a dump. Yeah. The commercial jobs are worse because
Wait, a
there was
6
just
foot
a
by
bunch
6
of
foot
animals.
hole?
Yeah,
in
you'd have to cut like where the people downstairs would look up and see a giant hole in their roof. Just a big hole in the roof. So then you really had to get the thing taken care of, because if it rained, you fucking water's going to pour in their building.
So what went over the roof hole?
It was something called a curb. It was what the giant units, they would bring cranes in and have to land the units on these things. But you'd have to put the base, the platform that these big air conditioning units sat on, and you'd put it on the roof, and then you had to tar it in. So you had to sit there with tar and tar paper and shit and smear tar so it wouldn't leak when it rained.
So
and you believe me, one like a marble-sized bit of tar would spread over you like it was a gallon. That shit will be everywhere. It's murder.
So when you do the tarring, you guys get there obviously before the unit arrives.
Yeah.
How many days does it take to do that process?
That's probably a couple of days, but once you put a hole in the roof, you got to make sure it's weather tight before you leave.
So the base goes over.
The base goes over the hole, you screw it down to the roof, and then you start waterproofing with tar.
And the base has something in it that the unit can go on top of.
Yeah, it's just like a square base that the unit, then they bring a big crane and lift it up and.
So how come it wouldn't fall through the hole in the roof? Oh, it's straddling the hole?
Yeah, it's straddling the base that you put on. You put it like it's a base made just for that unit.
And when you're doing a commercial,
pop it on.
When you're doing a commercial job, there's nobody like a homeowner or something to say, "Can I get you a glass of water?"
No, that you got to fucking bring your own shit.
And your own buckets to shit in.
Yeah. But then what a joy when the coffee truck shows up. So that's where you get your lunch and everything. The roach coach, they'd call it.
Oh, you're telling me you go down there,
Yeah.
you get more roaches than coffee.
Get your cup of coffee. All the trades out there by the truck just talking to each other.
Right.
It was not my life. I hated it. I don't want to hear about the carpenter and his fucking kids and his new car and his wife giving him shit. Everybody there was regular Joe. They were real regular Joes.
Would you ever have a day where you were in this fucking hot attic or on this fucking cocksucker roof, and then go home and your wife was cunty?
Yes. Yes. All the time. That bitch.
You'd
Yeah,
have
and
tar
that's
on your pants.
Yes. That's what I needed. Her being fucking cunty to me. Covered in tar. What the fuck? Take out the garbage. Oh, sorry, dear. I was just being fucking assaulted in an attic.
You'd have to go home and do chores.
Chores.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a few chores to do. Clean out the cat box. I'm not the one that wanted 4 cats, you cunt.
Did you ever say that?
No. Yes, dear. Okay, where's the scooper? That was me. Yes, dear, where's the scooper?
You were a duty scooper?
I was duty scooper and garbage taker outer.
Spending the day in attics and on roofs, and then you go home and bend over and scoop kitty litter.
Scoop cat shit out of a box.
What a horrible life you had.
It was an awful little fucking
Opie really
existence.
saved you from a life of fucking just terribleness.
Oh, I was doing like some shit for the morning show at one point, for the morning show at BAB. So I'd go in for like an hour before I even had to go to work. And then I would go to work and I'd be in an attic and shit, and it was awful, and I'd be yelling and getting cut and shit. And then I'd have the radio on and I'd hear like one of my bits is on the radio, and I'm like, how does this, like, it didn't seem possible to me. If I'm on the radio, I must be rich and famous.
But you didn't understand why show business. I'm in show business.
Why am I still doing this? And then I got the big call, the big call. I got called up to the big leagues of radio, and I was a good boy. I gave my 2 weeks notice.
Oh, you did.
Like a good worker.
But this whole life explains why now you're so unapologetic
Yeah, I am.
about being stinking rich.
I could give a fuck
Yeah.
if anybody has a problem
Yeah.
with what I do
Yeah, people
with
don't-
my
A lot of
cash.
people don't know. You don't know that Anthony really. This is what it came from. Fucking nothing.
Oh, it was terrible. Terrible. I finally gave my 2 weeks notice. I was working at what was that?
Apollo.
Yeah, no, I mean I was the last job I did for Apollo was at a hospital in Smithtown. It was St. John's or something like that. And I gave my 2 weeks notice, and that lasted 3 days. 3 days in, I was doing something, and I went to screw something in, and I cut my hand. And I looked at it, I fucking grabbed my hand, I grabbed what I was screwing in, I threw it on the floor, and I went, "That's it! Take it easy, everybody!"
You left in the middle of the job?
In the middle of the job. I fucking walked. I said, "I'm done." What am I trying to be noble and give 2 weeks notice so they could find some other skilled, intelligent man to replace me? Stop. Go to any fucking bus stop, you'll find somebody that can replace me.
But that's the fantasy of every guy that has that job.
Take this job and
Yes.
shove it.
Yes.
Is that the greatest feeling that there ever has been?
It was amazing. I threw that thing down. I walked off the job knowing that I was going to a radio job, full-time radio in Boston. Like, that was it. Done.
So you guys were going to Boston when you quit. Like, you weren't
Yep.
just like joining Opie in Long
no,
Island.
This was the big break.
We have our show in Boston
show,
signed.
We have it. We have a start date.
So
I
you
gave
were
my
working-
2 weeks notice,
You were working, doing AC.
even when I knew I had a radio gig.
The whole time you were with Opie on doing radio in Long Island.
Oh yeah, I was
At
working.
BAB. You were also.
Oh yes,
Wow.
I was working air conditioning.
So it wasn't like when you just started a little bit, like you hear a bit. Now you were on the radio
Hey.
/ installing air
I
conditioning
had,
units.
I had to pay the bills. You know,
Wow.
I had to pay for that jet ski.
Yeah, I had
was,
a Sea-Doo to pay
I had a
for.
Sea-Doo personal watercraft to pay for.
How bummed were you when you got fired from radio with that first firing?
All I thought was, I'm going to be back in an attic, cutting fucking air conditioning duct, looking at my partner or something there, and going like, you know, I used to do radio. I was, you ever hear Opie and Anthony show, WAF? Yeah, that was me. Yeah. Pass me the 8-inch flex duct and the duct tape, please. Oh yeah, it was fun. It was great.
You were dreading that?
I thought there's no other thing I'm going to be going back to sheet metal.
How long were you guys laid off, like out of work for?
From April Fools.
Right.
April Fools.
Yes. I did a prank like that once.
No, you didn't.
I did. I said, the mayor left his hat in Arby's. Apple Falls.
Just get in trouble.
Yeah.
The mayor left his hat in Arby's. Yeah, a big scandal. We had a gig by shit. When the fuck was it? I wasn't very long.
No.
It was only
More
a
than a
couple of months.
Oh, a couple of months.
Yeah.
So you had
yeah.
some time where you were panicking.
Right away, I was panicking. Opie kept saying, he goes, "Don't worry, we'll fucking get another gig. It's not even an issue."
And you were like, "What the fuck did you do to
Like,
us?"
oh my God, we're so fucked.
Yeah.
We're so fucked. Oh my God, I got to buy new tools. I got to buy new sheet metal tools. I threw mine out on 95 driving up to Boston.
Did you?
Yes. Right out on the side of the fucking road. You might still be able to find them. I did. I just took them and went, flang, clang, clang, clang.
You're such a theatrical guy.
He really is.
It
But
was
you have
very
to-
cathartic.
You have to quit in the middle of the job. You have to throw
I
your
know.
tools out the window.
I did.
What do you
yeah.
think? I bet you fucking dummy thought that's how the fucking movie credits would roll.
Of course.
With the shot of the van driving the Scooby-Doo van while his tools fucking still flying.
Clang, clang. Yes.
was
Roll
just-
credits.
Meanwhile, you got to back up down the highway and pick him up again.
Well, fuck. Got fired.
He was
How embarrassing.
picturing the opening to his Fish Out of Water sitcom.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be a
God.
good sitcom, though. A radio guy now redoing. Where do you go with that sitcom?
Yeah, where does
Who
it go
cares?
from there?
After episode 1, he hangs himself. He hangs himself in the pilot.
I would have. Oh my God! I don't know what I would have done. Oh my God!
You'd be a
And
funny
considering
air
the fact
conditioning guy.
I was still with the wife, so I wouldn't have. Yeah.
You'd have kids by now.
Ah.
Can you imagine if
would.
you had a baby by now?
And fucking working back at Apollo. So what happened there, Mr. Showbiz? And they would have all goofed on me.
All the time.
Hey.
They'd play your bits.
Oh,
When you walked
no.
in the room, they'd play
Remember
one of your
that?
bits.
Remember this?
Imagine if you knocked her up, and in that first month that you were off the radio, she made you quit to take care of the baby.
Oh
and get a
my
job.
God! Oh my God! Oh no! I couldn't.
And then Opie couldn't even look anymore with you because you were simply out of it.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Imagine if that fucking big horse dick had been pumping fucking anything but blanks.
I was fucking pulling that out. I'm a fag these days when it comes to drunk driving. I just can't do it. Too much to lose.
There's 10 years in jail if you kill
I
somebody.
know. I'm petrified of that. Like completely petrified. So if I'm going to be going out, I'll take a cab.
They'd
I'll
sue you
take
for
my
your
chances.
house?
Oh, I know.
They'd get it.
I'll take the house. No, I don't need that shit. And then just the thought of going through all that. Oh, the court and, oh, you were drunk and this and then the paper would pick it up and then I'm automatically a bigger scumbag than I'm perceived now.
Yeah. Oh, this church sex jock kills.
Yeah, in new Dewey fucking controversy. Little kid on life support because of me.
Ugh.
No, I'll cab it. Let those crazy Long Island cab drivers drive me around.
And all I'm thinking of is how it would affect me and my mortgage because the show would be in trouble.
Exactly.
I'm not thinking about the victim.
There's probably a morality clause where they'd fire me and not have to pay me anything. I'd be knocking tin again. Remember me? I was Anthony from the Opie and Anthony show. Yeah, no, I used to do this before I did the radio thing. Yeah, I was a Dewey. I understand. No, nothing. I have a small apartment down the road. They don't plow it, so I can't come into work. But it's yeah, that would be horrible. So I'd rather just cab it these days. And then the cab is great because now I don't even have to think about it. Like in the bar, I'd be there going, now fuck it. Sure, I'll take that shot. Sure, I'll take that beer.
Can you comprehend going back to another job after this?
No.
I can't either.
It's actually a fear. It's a legitimate phobia I have now of going back to a normal job that, I used to have. I'd say it is up there as my number one fear.
I would have to agree with that.
Yeah.
It's something I think about every day.
Every day.
Every day I think about it.
I think about it.
Scary.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to get up and work for like a real job and boss and work hard. I did it for years. Now, I know I'm making a lot of friends in the listeners that are right now getting up saying, go fuck yourself.
But no, you're also acknowledging what they do is hard.
Yeah, it sucks. And that I did it. I did it for more years than I did radio. I wonder when I could stop saying that.
You can't hate something unless you've experienced it before.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to work shit jobs, and I would probably kill myself.
Yeah, it would be like, I don't know. Not only that, but like people, believe it or not, from what I've said on this show and stuff, I'm not a complete only materialistic guy. I enjoy my toys. I enjoy the pleasures that this great job has offered me through my radio career but the things that I'm most fearful of is going back to the point where I really have to worry where rent is coming from and if I'm going to have to sleep in my car again, because I had to sleep in my car for a while and stuff. And it would actually be embarrassing for my family, I think. Not for them, like for me to see my family after now completely failing.
And you know that they'd love you anyway and go,
Oh, of course
hey.
they would. And it's like, hey, you had a good run and things like that. And it's like, so what are you doing? Oh, yeah, back in sheet metal work. No, that's good. You know something? It's a good thing you learned a trade because now, see, you'd be out with no luck. And now you have a job and it's great. And Yeah, put the gun away. Put the gun.
It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end. And, you never know what's going to happen in the future. You could get back or something else. And that, to me, is like petrifying.
I know comedians who go back to day jobs after 15 years.
Oh, I know some that should. No, I'm teasing Boss, of course.
But I don't know how you do it. I can't comprehend ever, unless they don't mind, because they always kind of kept their foot in that world. But I can't comprehend ever looking back saying I used to just do comedy and now I do comedy and this because now I have to do this too.
Yeah, I did the job that I really loved doing. When people, oh, well, you got a job you love doing, it's not even like working. Shut it. But it's kind of true. So to have to go back to another job would kill me.
The stresses of this job, it's stressful and whatever, but it's nothing compared to even the shitty paying jobs I had were fucking, because you hated it. It was like, I hear people talk about like rent money.
Yeah.
And I can't comprehend, not that I can't comprehend it, but it's like, I'm like, God damn, I'm so lucky not to have to worry about, like, is my phone bill going to get paid? Like, I know my phone bill's going to get paid. My mortgage I worry about. But, like, the phone bill I don't worry about. Like, little shit like going out to dinner I don't worry about.
Yeah, that's like the kind of stuff that, and you do. I like how you say lucky, because I say that all the time. It's like, you're so fucking lucky, because there are plenty of people that want to do the job that are not doing the job. But it's like a lucky thing. And I do remember not paying the landlord and him banging on the door and me having to hide. I'm hiding from the landlord so he doesn't kick me out because I spent the rent on slot cars. I was in my 20s. What's wrong with me?
I remember working at a convenience store when I was like 18, back when I was in my wigger phase. When I would wear a sky blue Kango to work. I was the worst.
Stop it. And I don't got to take your shit, motherfucker.
Yeah, I would say that to old ladies. And then like tough thugs would come in, they'd go, all right, and I'd go, word. Yeah. And I remember in this in like the meat tray, they had like, we served meat and cheese and stuff. We had like a little deli counter. There was all these little teeny mouse teeth prints in the fucking food and little balled up hashish turds. The mice were shitting and eating the food. And I told the district manager, Pete, his name was, with a gay porn mustache. He's like, oh no, that's fine. You can sell it.
You could sell it.
And
of course I could.
I kept not selling it to customers. That was the job I was doing. It was like I had to clean the mouse shit off the food before I sold it to people.
What a horrible place.
It was terrible. So happy I don't do that anymore.
And you did sell it to them?
Once in a while, I would try to turn the meat around.
Like shake your head. No, you don't want this.
Yes. Are you sure you want this? Take a look at it. Just in case I was being tape recorded.
Take a close look.
Yeah, that was a horrible horrible gig.
Just really bad jobs that you just don't want to do, and I couldn't imagine going back to, and it horrifies me. It is the number one fear, because I think of it every day.
I remember the big deal I felt when I missed make. I think it was $3.35 an hour when I started. And then I went to Pergament, and I was driving a forklift, and I remember bragging to people. Or no, from Pergament to something else. And I think it was like 7-something an hour. They're like, getting 7-something an hour? I'm like, yeah, man, it's a great fucking gig. And
living large.
Drive me and Joe in a fucking forklift, and I had a big boom, like a giant boom on the front to take 20-foot copper tubing off the back of a truck. And the fucking ramp was broken. Like rust had rotted out the bottom of the ramp. So if I came down the right side of the ramp, the forklift was going to flip and fall off the dock. So I had to go to the middle left. It was a fucking horrible job.
I can't believe you were a forklift driver.
I was a good forklift operator.
Were you?
I think so. I never killed anyone, and no one ever killed me.
Right? That constitutes a good forklift driver.
The other guys in the warehouse were phenomenal. Like, we were attached to another trucking company, and I worked for Cerro Copper. And it was just, I was the only one, and I would have to, like, these flatbeds outdoors in January, 10 degrees out.
I know, yeah.
Unloading fucking 20-foot giant long bundles of copper tubing. It was a fucking horrible job. It was a tough job. You have to go on the truck and lift shit. It was fucking freezing. And wrap the
cold metal is
awful
in the winter. For some reason, metal gets colder than outside is. I don't know how it happens, but like you'll be outside and just go, it's really fucking cold out. And then you go to grab metal and go, why did they refrigerate the metal? It's colder than outside. With sheet metal was the same thing, like working sheet metal jobs. You'd have to load the trucks up with these fucking ductwork that was freezing cold, get to the job site, and then there's people that just are into it. Like this one guy I worked for, I was his helper. I was his fucking helper, and I had to like get stuff and help him like put the ductwork up and everything. And he was gung ho guy.
Ugh.
Like every morning, I'd be drinking my coffee in the van or something. And he'd be like, "All right, come on, let's start up." It's 7:30 on the dot. It was like, "Come on, we got to start up right now." And he used to make, this was the gayest thing. He'd make me, because he couldn't reach around behind him to tie his little
Was he
nail
fat?
apron. Yeah. His little nail apron. So one of my jobs in the morning was to tie his nail apron on.
Ew.
How fucking subservient, like, is that? Because it's right over his ass.
You're a sheet metal cuckold.
I prepped the fucking boss.
Wait, was he an ex-drinker? That sounds like an ex-drinker. Or was he an active drinker?
I have no idea. He drank some beers,
Okay.
but I don't know if he was a drunk or not. You know, by my standards, nobody is.
Yeah, William Holden was a fucking teetotaler.
But he'd be like, "All right, let's suit up." Like, suit up? I'd put a nail apron on and put a hammer in my fucking belt. But he'd be like, "All right," so, and he'd stand up and like fucking putting the robes around a fucking Caesar. I had to dress him in his armor and put this on, and I felt so degraded every day having to tie that bow, tied that little bow. "All right, a little tighter. That's good. Is it? Is it good?" And that's what I had to do. And then he would tell me what I had to do like all day. "All right, get me that. I need 3 of these. Go to the truck and put more gas in the generator." And I'd be freezing cold, just wishing I could have a better job. And it's horrifying, the thought of having to go back to
Dude, I drove by that place, that old copper. It's out of business now. It might still be. I think
Well, you left. You were the best forklift driver this side of the Mississippi.
from Portland, Oregon, or Portland, Maine, for that matter. And it was. I remember me and my boss. There was this
Yay, pudding.
Oh, Dan.
Oh, I hope it really is, too. No, please. It's appropriate. There was a hooker named Pam, a black girl, who walked behind the thing, and she was like not even an attractive hooker. She was like just wore dungarees and a fucking, she was a drug addict hooker. And so she had sucked my dick or whatever.
Ooh.
And so she was going to suck the guys at work, the supervisor. He was an older guy. He was a big fat guy. He was in his 50s. And it was
still went on even when you just worked at a
Dude,
regular
this is when I was
job.
fucking 22 years old.
Hysterical.
Or 21. I hadn't even done comedy yet. And we worked, we had like a little office inside a giant warehouse which belonged to another company. So we rented warehouse space from another bigger company. So our office was kind of closed off. So the hooker walked in and she was going to take care of him. And he would always go, "Okay, Jim, I'll see you Monday."
Is that what he said?
"Yeah, I'll see you Monday, Jim." Just a big fat dude. I come back in Monday. I'm like, "How was it?" He goes, "Jim, she stole my wallet." This dummy. I go, "What happened?" I'm like, "I told you to put your wallet," because I did tell him, "Put your wallet in the desk drawer. Don't leave it in the back of your pants or just take your dick out." He goes,
shit.
This is how naive he was. He goes, "No." He goes, "I pulled my pants down on my ankles and sat back, because I wanted her to enjoy the experience."
Oh, she's going to enjoy it.
I'm like, "You're morbidly obese. You're in your 60s, and she's sucking your dick so that she doesn't shake apart from lack of drugs. How much fun is she having? Fucking anchovy balls. She's not having fun, old man."
And she did the gag. What, did she reach into his pulled down pants pocket and took his wallet
His
out?
awful. They were probably turned inside out because, fatty. I bet he had his pants pulled down to his shoes and his black socks still up to his fat calves.
With those old 50s garters on?
Yeah, little sock garters holding them on. And,
How easy must it be for a girl to pick a pocket that is around someone's ankles?
Dude, if you could fucking pick his pocket, you could tie his shoes together. She probably could have rifled through his wallet and picked out the credit card she was going to use. What a dope.
What an idiot. Yeah,
But I'll never forget that, because I think she had sucked my dick in the car one time, and then I'm like, "Yeah, she gives a great blowjob." I had awful fucking regular hookers back
Would she
then.
come around like the coffee truck?
They would actually, like a lot
Really?
lizard. Yeah, she would probably stop in. We were in the back of we were behind. I should go and get photos of this place one day. It really was a fucking horrible back of the lot place. It was really
Yeah.
an isolated place. Yeah.
I look at certain places when I drive home now and stuff like warehouses. You can see, driving through Queens, the garage doors are open and you see guys working in there. And I look in and think like how horrible that is, but how familiar it becomes to you when you do work there.
Yeah.
Like when you first go in and I'd apply for one of these shit jobs, you look around, everything's unfamiliar, and then you just get into this rut where you're coming, you know where everything is, you know who everyone is, you know what your shit fucking job will be that day, and it just becomes so goddamn depressing to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, what seems like you'll never make it a part of your comfort zone. Like, I'll never feel at home in that place. And then you do, and then you grow to hate it.
Yeah, you know every nook and cranny, and you try to have fun with people, and maybe you'll have a few laughs during the day and then realize, though, that it just sucks being there.
It's weird the things you remember from I remember when I worked at Pergamon. Before that, this is when I was just getting sober, so it's probably 1987 in that area. And I drove a forklift in the back, and this was the new Pergamon in the Brunswick Shopping Center.
Ooh.
This was like a fucking cheese dick lame, like little fucking one-level mall that opened in North Brunswick. That half the stores, it was called the Fashion Plaza. There was nothing fashionable about it. Pergamon was one of the anchor stores in the Fashion Plaza.
In a fashion
exactly.
plaza?
It's fucking horrible. And I'll never forget my supervisor there was a very, very fat lesbian who had tattoos, and when she wanted me to go buy food, she'd always get me to go, and she'd pay, and she'd always go, "You fly, I'll buy." Oh. And I always remembered that, and for some reason my girlfriend was I wanted her to walk to get something, and I almost said, "You fly, I'll buy," and I didn't say it because I pay for everything. Yeah. So even if I fly, I'll buy.
You're constantly buying,
but it just
she never flies.
It just would have seemed too, because it's not a coworker, it's a girl I fuck.
Yeah.
But I remember this black guy, Malcolm.
You suck, I'll pull out a buck.
Yeah, you fuck, I'll pay a few bucks. Even if you don't fuck, I'll pay a few bucks. Because I'm hungry. What am I going to do, eat in front of you?
Shit. But the coffee trucks would come by, and I would just be starving and have no money and have to take a tab out with the guy. And there's nothing worse than being alone with the fucking mobbed up coffee truck guy for egg sandwiches that we used to say made at some place in Central Islip. And I knew Central Islip is Zimbabwe. Yeah. It is just an awful place. I used to live there. It's horrid. And I'd look at these sandwiches, these egg sandwiches, and just be like, between hunger and this is how I know that if I was on that fucking plane crash from Alive, I'd have been the first one just mowing down on someone's dead ass, just eating it. Because I would pick up these egg sandwiches knowing where they came from, probably being spit on.
Yeah.
And just eat it, not thinking twice. Like the hunger, and believe me, it wasn't like hunger like days have gone by, but the hunger just made me forget the fact that this food is probably being touched and abused by people.
What's worse than when you get to a new job? I had a temp job one time. I was such a fucking bum, and I was so bad at this stuff. This is when I was drinking. I was me and my buddy Bill D'Angelo. And Bill, if you're listening, I got your message.
Hello,
it is me.
Bill.
Hello, Bill. We were doing this job in fucking. It was like a warehouse. It was like centrifuges. And what is worse than having to shit on a new job where you know the bathroom is awful and like you like your whole stomach seizes up, and you know that when you're trying to hold in a shit and you're standing there and you go
I don't think I've made the sound, but I know the feeling.
You don't make the sound, but the feeling of I just want to talk about and you get really stiff and you can't walk because one step and you're going to shit. What's worse than having to shit at a new job? There's nothing worse.
You don't want to. First of all, you don't even want to go away from what you're supposed to be doing for fear you'll look at like you're lazy.
Yeah, you don't want to have to.
You don't want to do that. And then, the uncomfortable, what's the best bowl? You haven't figured out what's the best turlet yet.
Because I like a long shit. Like, I'm the worst. Like, whenever I go to shit, everyone who knows that I was just there knows I've been shitting. Because I'm gone too long to have been pissing. I like a relaxing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the job, you just can't do that.
They should have some kind of, I'm going to invent this, pants that cuff up inside the pant leg. So as you're walking, it doesn't look like anything. It's just pants. But you could pull down artificial shoe tops that will go over your shoes so that when you're shitting in the stall and people come by, it doesn't look like your shoes. Because the people look at your shoes to see who's shitting there. I know it happened to me a couple of times. It's like, oh, I had a good dump in there, did you? And I'm like, fucking 511 boots. Everyone knows them. So fake shoe tops. I'll call them shit spats. Spats. They're fucking spats.
What a great infomercial that would be.
Oh.
You show people talking about the advantages of no one knowing it was you shitting.
Shitting.
You know,
It'd be
my
wonderful.
boss, I would never get raises. As soon as they didn't think it was me stinking up the bathroom, I advanced in the company. You know, testimonials.
And they can have like that badly acted thing where someone's on the bowl shitting and the boss comes in, sees the shoes, and shakes his head. Ah, Smith, it's you again. Is that account going to be completed by today? And he knows it's him.
Yeah, and the boss and like the pretty secretary are both just looking at Smith's empty chair.
Someone says they should be called Splats. Oh, it's Steve from Bayshore. Splats. The audience applauding. Oh, yeah, I could use that. I shit a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they take the fucking... I love the idea of that him and the hot secretary just both noticing that Smith has gone again.
Smith's gone again, and the newspaper's gone. you know, whoever has read the newspaper at a urinal? You don't. You fucking. I am gonna be shitting for a long time.
And they can't say shit, so they have to do little things to get around it. Like they have a little thing that says clothespin bin, and it's empty, and they're all wearing them on their noses in the office.
That's Smith again.
Yeah, that damn Smith and his colon cancer.
I can't finish the O'Reilly account because he's shitting again.
And they allude to it in the office, like, yeah, we're going to have to move Smith's desk into there. God damn, that's Smith.
Oh, he stinks.
Oh, that was wonderful.
That's wonderful. It's certainly.